Hi, my name is Manpreet Singh and welcome to my YouTube channel. This channel focuses on real estate and mortgage insights. This channel aims to empower viewers with the knowledge to make informed decisions in the real estate market. Please subscribe to stay informed about the Canadian real estate market. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I have a very special guest. He's the broker of record for Remax Millennium, Mr. Ron Selly. Ron, thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for thinking of me.
I'm going to start off with a few questions and take the conversation from there.
Sure, let's do it, man.
My first question is, you already have your own podcast where you have multiple guests in the past. How does it feel sitting in the other side of the chair?
This is so much easier. As a host, you have to ask lots of questions. You have to listen very carefully. And also sometimes you need a good guest to keep you engaged. So it's very different. You know, when you're a host, you're more of a listener and you're really observing and you're picking up on the key points. But I like this side too, just talking about things.
Awesome. Yeah. And I was going to start off, the main thing that I was going to cover is a little bit about yourself. So tell me a little bit that how long have you been in the business and what exactly inspired you or motivated you to join real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, my story is very simple. It's my small story. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to do many different things altogether. I was never hired anywhere. I've applied to almost all jobs. The only callback I ever got, I've applied to Tim Hortons, McDonald's, you name it, I did it. And I was like, man, somebody just give me a job. The only job I've ever had in my life is Canada's Wonderland. I worked in the games department. And I tell anybody, if you ever want to win some serious games, come with me to Canada's Wonderland. I'll probably win all of them because I know exactly how the whole system works over there. Anyways, long story short, I got my mortgage license first at 18. What does an 18-year-old know about mortgages and finance? And I said, this isn't for me. And I was a little confused. And I said, you know what, let me get my real estate license. So I started studying for my real estate license at 19. And I was working a lot on myself, personally, mentally, physically, emotionally. You know, you're becoming a man. You're an adult, but you haven't really become a man yet. So you're building those things on. And I was studying for my real estate license, so I got my license at 19. And I said, you know, I'm going to do this for a little bit. And I'm going to go on and you know, finish up my school and do law school. And I'm going to become a lawyer. And I'm going to fight all these tough cases. I'm going to be the top lawyer in the city. And I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I found early success with difficulties. You have to learn, you have to adapt. And the challenge always was, you're so young, what do you know about real estate?
True.
So from there on, I had to deal with those battles. I would dress a lot more maturely. I would always make sure I have a suit on and a tie on. I looked the part, I dressed the part, and how I would speak to somebody and I would talk. And when people would say to me like, hey, how old are you? And I was like, how old do you think I am? They said, oh, you look like you're 24, 25. And I was around 19 at that point in time. So I was like, okay, this is good. At least I look 5 years older than my age. So I love the real estate industry. It's been a blessing for me. I don't say that I work in the industry. The industry is my life. I have nothing else other than this industry.
True,
real estate, like there's no personal life. This is my life. Every aspect of it revolves around real estate, revolves around hanging out with people, spending time with agents, clients, investors, builders, developers. Each of my day revolves around some aspect of real estate and it finishes with real estate. Starts with real estate and ends with real estate. And this is the life that you pick and this is the life that I've chose for myself and I couldn't be happier. It's given me a lot. It's been humbling and I'm very grateful for all the opportunities.
So we are talking here about at least a decade of experience.
About, to be exact, it's probably, I would say 13 years in the industry and 12 years licensed.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And in the beginning when you started, of course, that was the age where you are kind of deciding what is the right path for you in your career, right?
Yeah.
And real estate is a business where people want to work with somebody that has probably gray hair and a lot of experience under their belt, right? Did you face those challenges in the beginning, in the early years?
So see, when you're dealing with an objection, what is the objection? You're too young.
Yeah.
So that's an objection. How do you tackle that objection? I have to present myself, be knowledgeable, speak the facts, and get to the point about the opportunity. So if I do a good enough job in that objection of how old are you won't make a difference. So when I have young realtors in my office, say, Ron, well, first off, you look like you just graduated from high school. Why do you look like that? You should be in a suit. You should dress up. You should look the part. So you miss the opportunity right just by not looking the part because you look like a kid.
True.
And unfortunately, when you are a kid, the perception of it is that you may not take you a little bit seriously. And industries differ. You're in a professional industry, right? And if I'm going to an accountant or a lawyer, and unfortunately they're looking like a certain way, look, they have to look the part. They have to have the experience, in my opinion.
No, that's I completely agree with it. It's only how well you present yourself and how hardworking you are, and everything else is just excuses, in my opinion, right? I was gonna come back to how you deal with real estate agents and you train them on a regular basis, right? What are the common traits that you see in successful realtors?
The most common traits that I've seen is organization. Some are very successful but very disorganized, and they have people in their lives that keep them organized, such as their assistants or secretaries or a core team member that keeps everything enabled. Because when you're really busy doing transactions, handling your personal life, you're handling your finances, and at the same time you're trying to keep everybody happy, which is your clients and your business, and then you're trying to grow and thrive, you need to have a high level of organization.
100%.
And that starts with managing your calendar, and that starts with managing your day. Second, what I've realized about successful people is they're very particular about how they do certain things, what they eat, how their health is, how their energy is, because that is what's going to happen that's what's going to carry them out throughout the day. For example, if I am partying at nighttime and I have tons of meetings the next day, I'm not going to be as energized for my meetings. I'm not going to be as sharp for my meetings. I'm not going to be on the ball as my meetings. So my energy levels are going to drop. And that what's going to happen, the output of my productivity is not going to be higher. So these successful individuals understand how to manage their productivity, so results. And they're also results oriented. So they're focusing on results. And they're focusing on, okay, if I take this action, I'm going to get this result. If I do this, I'm going to get that result. So that's what I find about the traits that they carry. And of course, mindset, man. Everything starts with mindset. The first thing is believing you can do it. The first thing is knowing that I have the capability of myself to really make certain things happen. You know, another thing is opportunity, and risk takers are really good risk takers. You know, you can't sometimes make something happen by playing it safe all the time. You got to be able to risk things, and you got to be able to bet on yourself. So that's what I would say.
I think that's pretty important for most of the aspect of life. If you are the risk taker, you will eventually get results. And also, as you said, it's very important to be having an organized calendar and things like that, right? So I completely agree with it. I was going to come back to the current real estate market. What we are hearing from a lot of major real estate brands in Canada is 2025 is going to be the year. What are your thoughts on that?
I wouldn't say that 2025 is going to be the year. My thoughts are that it's going to be a little bit better in terms of positivity. It's better in terms of the outcomes. It's better in terms of the government jumping in with the interest rate drops, with probably we're going to see a new party in our elections. We're going to see a new form of government, and then you also have changes that they've made to financing options and extensions, and the qualifying ratios. So when you have changes that are happening that are bettering for the real estate industry as a whole, you have a lot more positivity. So the government, a lot of people don't know this, that have sanctioned a lot of rules and regulations about, secondary housing units, about converting your place where you're located, certain rebates that they've introduced. And that's why when you work with the right people, you can find about the first time home buyer rebate. You have even the, rebates when it comes to land transfer tax. So saving money, they've given a lot of options of putting less down and being able to afford a home simultaneously. So when you have these government changes and policies that affect the industry as a whole, there is going to be a little bit more positivity for it.
100%.
But the bigger challenge at hand is we don't want to see a really volatile real estate market the way we saw it a couple of years ago. That's unstable. That's scary to me. So I don't, when people say, oh, market's gonna rack up and no.
It's gonna take time.
You are gonna, look, if a house particularly is desirable and looks nice, great energy, a lot of money has been spent, exterior, interior, it's priced extremely well. Everything boils down to the price. What do you think is going to happen? It's going to create some sort of demand. And that demand, if you like that house and I like that house and you're in the market and I'm in the market, what do you think we're going to do? We're going to end up bidding on that house.
That's true.
Makes sense? So now you have two people bidding on the house. Now, which one wants it more? Which one is willing to pay more because that's their final home that they want to be in?
Now they're competing.
So just like that, there are a lot of buyers in the market. There are people that are waiting, they're watching because of affordability, based off interest rates. They need things to change a little bit so they can afford homes. Really what you're doing is you're not affording the home, you're affording the payment on the home.
I think also the 30-year amortization that they brought in for the first-time home buyers with the insured files, I think that's going to make a significant amount of difference of the buyers that's going to come in the market.
It's increasing your debt a little bit, obviously, right?
100%,
but it makes things easier for someone to get into home ownership.
Yeah.
You know, and home ownership was always about home ownership till it became just about making money.
Yes.
And I don't blame anyone. We're in a capitalistic nature. We're in a capitalistic environment. Everybody wants to make money. Why do we work in the first place?
Especially
Why do we
in
invest
Canada?
in the workplace?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that's biggest commodity for people to live in became a big business. Flipping, you buy a property, flip it 3 months later, flip it 6 months later, 9 months later, you're walking away with some sort of return. And that was the beautiful part about the real estate market.
Yeah.
But we all learned a hard lesson. And it still can be done, obviously, because you know there's always good deals out there if you're hunting enough. There's always there's always someone willing to let go of it a lot less than they had anticipated. And the most important thing is being aware. And that's why you need good decision makers beside you.
100%.
You need people right next to you advising you of where you should put your money, why you should put your money there, what you should buy. That's really what we are on a high level of as a real estate. Our license gives us the right to sell legally.
Yeah.
So we know the rules and regulations so we can guide people better. But being knowledgeable is our responsibility.
Yeah.
To really become a trusted advisor, you have to really become a trusted advisor.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And I was going to come back to you again.
Yeah.
And I've been following you on social media from a while. You are an early riser. You like to wake up early. You are hustling. And what I've seen from the last 5-6 years is you are a hustler. My question is, what is the motivator when you wake up in the morning? What is the igniter that makes you keep going, even though you already have seen quite a bit of success in your career?
Yeah, Manpreet, that's a really good question. Look, I don't know what success is. Success is a goal that you set and you achieve it. That's success. You can set a goal today and you can achieve it as well. I don't mean to get too philosophical over here, but I actually feel I haven't done enough. So, and by me sleeping, I feel like I'm wasting my time. I need it because physically I need it, right? In order to function or do anything. And I'm not just saying this to glorify anything. I was talking to my friend yesterday and I said, sometimes in life you get a really great opportunity. And you have an opportunity where you have to understand that opportunity. We all get that opportunity. Like, for example, if knowing what you know now, you had to repeat everything during the pandemic and you saw how the housing markets were, you would have made different decisions. You would have made different investments. You would have made different moves. But a lot of us at that point in time, maybe someone watching this right now didn't recognize that opportunity.
That's true, yeah.
So knowing what opportunity you have in your hand and being ready for that opportunity, that has to happen. So I have this wonderful opportunity in my hand where I happen to be in a very changing, dynamic environment of the industry. Our industry is evolving from the tech, from the innovations, from the way business is done, from requirements of buyers and sellers, with the way real estate needs to be traded, and what the expectation of the buyer is, the expectation of the seller. It's evolving. And when you're in that evolving, changing dynamic, my opportunity is to cash in on that environment.
Yep.
And how do I cash in? By being there at the right time and projecting the right valuable information that people need to know and hear. And I have to be motivated in order to do that. But I love life at the end of the day too, right? I'm fired up when I wake up every single morning. And the reason why I'm fired up is because what's there to be sad about? You know? So a car doesn't change me, a watch doesn't change me, the lifestyle doesn't change me. What matters to me is meeting great individuals like yourself and learning something from you, learning something from someone else, being in a certain environment and getting motivated. I also want more money. I also want a bigger house. I also want a better car. I also want nice things. It's not bad to have. So we have to work for it. We all have to work hard for it.
I think when you start enjoying your everyday life, especially in terms of how you work and everything, it becomes a habit, and you start, because you enjoy it on a daily basis, you're always looking forward to it, right?
What I find is the people that enjoy their life, that are serial businessmen and serial entrepreneurs, their life is work. And people think, oh man, you don't take it easy. No, they're taking it easy, but they're enjoying while they're doing it. They're working, but they're working beachside.
Yeah.
They're getting things done, but they're in a great environment. So that hustle mentality of work, deals, transactions, that ambitiousness, it's just engraved into their blood and into their body, mind, and soul, that it's just a way of life. And that's what I have. I have just a way of life. My whole life and my world is real estate and in the industry. And even while I'm sitting and having this conversation with you, sure, it could be a little bit business, but I'm enjoying this. This is fun for me. This is leisure for me.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
discussing great ideas, discussing things that you like, and yeah.
No, I completely agree with this. I think it's very important, especially in the world of real estate. You get to meet a lot of different people. You learn a lot from them. And I also believe in your network is your real net worth. So coming back to your networking, I was going to ask you, socializing in person or social media, what is a good method to grow your brand?
Both. You have to do both. Social media is trust. That's what social media is. Social media is your digital resume. Social media is your Google review. Social media is your base where someone forms an opinion about you. And then when they meet you, they match that opinion with the interaction they have of you or with you, and they decide that does your social media, how you are, match up to your real life, and that creates a personality or perception of who you are as a person. So to answer your question, in person or online, you gotta do both. Someone can watch you online, they can have some sort of opinion about you, negative or positive, till they actually meet you, which will either confirm their opinion about you or which will deny their opinion about you. So it has to do both. I looked at a product. I went online to shop for it on Amazon. And as I'm looking for this product, I'm reading the Google reviews. I just bought it. I'm seeing the same product, but I'm seeing negative reviews on this one. I'm seeing negative, but I'm seeing 500 positive reviews on this one. Same product. I ended up buying the one with 500 reviews. Why? It just made sense a little bit because I was reading what people were writing or what they were doing. So you got to do both, man. It's very, very important.
I think that's exactly what's happening to me right now. I've been following you for almost 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And I had a perception of you. This is what Ron Selly is. This is what he's going to talk about. And now meeting you in person is a very different experience, right?
Yeah.
So as I said, all the things we discussed made complete sense. You aligned with what you show on social media. Your Instagram, your other social media platforms. So they align very well. And the way you think about real estate and the reason, the way I look at things is there has to be a reason why somebody is successful because the amount of people we have in our profession is limitless, right? So if we are or if somebody is in the top 10, there is a reason behind it. And when I try to meet with people like you, it helps me to understand that what is the reason behind that success, right? So thank you so much for answering all the questions. And I had an amazing experience meeting you in person and having this conversation. I know it was a little bit of drive for you to get here, although it's not very far.
A total long drive of 8 minutes, yeah.
But man, thank you so much for taking your time.
Thank you.
And meeting me and discussing your journey. I'm pretty sure the followers from this conversation are going to gain some insights about the real estate market and how they can benefit their real estate journey, even if they're first-time home buyers or they're investor clients. But thank you so much, Ron.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Manpreet. And I really appreciate you putting this on. I think you have a wonderful platform, you know. And just to add on to your last point about first-time home buyers and the journey of real estate altogether, look, finance is a very big subject. And the first thing anybody ever needs to know is how much can they afford and what they have and how to manage their money. I find that the relationship with money, we all have such a horrible, toxic relationship with money. Our relationship with money has to be very loving and fruitful, and we have to understand what that looks like. Look, you have money sitting somewhere, or you have some sort of, everybody has some sort of money, whether it's in a credit card, whether it's a line of credit, whether it's in their debit account, whether it's some form of investment, money is there. So why do we get shy about the conversation about money? Why do we always hold back on the conversation of money? So first thing is actually knowing the numbers. So what happens in life is we deflect all the time. We deflect. So first thing is accept your situation. It's okay if you make 50K a year. It's okay if you make 80K a year. It's okay if you make 100K a year. Maybe it's okay. When I say it's okay that accept that you make this. Now let's work with what you have. So if you are making 50 to 80K a year and you want a $2 million house, we got to manage your expectations accordingly.
Yes. 100%.
It's not going to work. It can't happen. Unless you have some crazy inheritance that you haven't told me about, then that's a different story.
Yeah.
So once you're okay with how much you make, let's put you on a plan. Let's create a plan. And it may not happen immediately, but we are working towards it.
Yeah.
If I don't know how much I need, how am I going to work towards it? If I don't know how much I need to save, how am I going to save for it?
Yep.
So if I'm making 80K a year or 50K a year, I need to know that I need at least this percentage to buy a $700,000 home or a $600,000 home. Here's what my qualifying ratios are going to look like. You're a mortgage expert. You're able to put that together for them. So that's the first step. Then, where do you want to be? Where you want to be, does your budget of $700,000 fit into that location? Because everything there is going for $900,000. So we got to move a little bit further out.
That's true.
Oh, Ron, we can't. No, we have to be here. No problem. Save up a little bit more money then, please.
Yeah. You got to have realistic expectation, right? So the amount of, as we have a saying back home, the amount of sugar you put in, the sweeter the tea is going to be, right? So
simple solution, right? Simple solution. Create an Excel sheet or sit with a professional like yourself, Manpreet, where you can create a plan for them. And if someone's watching this, create an Excel sheet, list out all your expenses, list out how much you earn, list out how much you can save per month. If after all your expenses, you're saving $1,000 a month, how many months will you need to save X amount? So what do I do now? I have to get a second job. I have to find a secondary source of income. One way or the other, I have to get this money.
That's
in order to save, in order to start something. Or I get smart with it. I say, well, you know what? Each year, I'm able to save $25,000. It's still not enough for me to get a house. But what if I get a house where I can pay monthly installments and I know that if this year I save 25, by next year I can save 35. The third year I can save, maybe $50,000 depending on what I'm going to do because I'm going to get a raise, because this is what's going to happen, because I'm going to sell this.
Maybe a side hustle.
Exactly. But now you can't buy a resale home and close within 90 days. Let's find a pre-construction property where you can pay installments, which you can get closer to home ownership. One way or the other, you have to start somewhere. And that's where you start on the property ladder. So you start small, maybe you buy something a little bit further away. You buy something. I met a gentleman today. He said, hey, you know what? I bought, in Brantford in the early stages, I bought a property for $150,000 in Brantford. I said, well, how much is it worth now? He's like, oh, it's worth around $450,000. I said, when did you buy this? Oh, I bought this 15 years ago. I said, wow. 15 years ago, you got it. It's paid off. He has at least around $500,000 equity based on what he's told me in the property. It's a paid off property. It's giving him cash. It's giving him money. He has $500,000 sitting in that property because of a decision that he took. But he didn't know Brantford was going to scale up. He said, I went to Brantford because it was the cheapest area for me, and I just wanted to rent it out.
Yeah. I think every investment in real estate is a long-term strategy.
Yeah.
And it pays you.
We forgot that now.
Yeah. It's not really a short-term investment, because I think people our age or even Gen Zs, they're more used to short-term gains.
Yeah.
And people want quick results. But real estate is a long-term game. So you invest today, once the property is paid off in 15, 20 years, 25 years, then when you start making decent amount of cash flow.
And the smart investor starts thinking, okay, cool. You're absolutely right. So when people say to me, oh, I'll just buy a property, even if I hang on. Historically, if you hang on to it for 10 years, you'll do okay. Because the market is going to perform.
Yeah.
And there's ups and downs. For example, somebody that bought something in the 80s or the 90s, it's come up in price since then. Someone that bought something in 2000s. So inevitably, inflation, cost of living, cost of goods, cost of services, 10 years from now, there's going to be some sort of return. Now, let's say you buy a property in a certain pocket, and maybe in 10 years, you make $100,000 on that property. You still made $100K.
Yeah.
Right? It's worth $100,000 more than what you bought it for. But then, I also bought a property, and I held it for 10 years. But depending on where I bought it, what the terms I bought it for, the price I bought it for, and how much I put down on it, that's where the smart investment starts coming in. And now I'm able to make $300,000 on it.
Yeah.
You made money and I made money, but I just made more money than you did. Why? I bought smart and I bought strategically, and I was smart about what I bought, not just buy any real estate.
That's true.
So what the mistake everybody was doing was like, yeah, let's all buy properties. Let's just buy anything.
Yeah.
Okay, great. You bought anything. You bought it at a certain price point. By the time it gets there, it may take you a little bit longer. You are going to get some sort of return if things continue to go the way they continue. I don't have a crystal ball. But the people that were smart about what they bought, the price they bought it for, where they bought it, locations always will drive the price.
Yeah.
You know? So
What is the rough amount of percentage in terms of appreciation you count for properties? Let's say in GTA, 5, 6, 7%.
Look, there was a time when things appreciated over 8% year over year. You know, even 10% year over year. And now, you know, you're seeing an average of anything 1.5 to 3% appreciation. If not, you're seeing a lot less.
Yeah.
You know,
But what is a healthy number, like an average number?
I think 3%, 3% to 4% average year over year is a good healthy number. Okay, so that's what I would say, that if your valuation is going up. I think if it starts going 8 to 10%,
Even outside GTA?
pardon?
Even outside GTA?
Outside GTAs, I find that the appreciations are a lot lower, but the rentals are really good. Outside the GTA are strict rental place altogether. And but I don't really find like crazy appreciation. But the numbers outside the GTA, you'll find around the same range, 1 to 3%.
And for investor clients, do you suggest cash flow or appreciation? Or both? I mean, ideally both, but
Best case, both. Cash flow.
cash flow.
Best case, both. Go for the cash flow. You know, because that, again, it depends on the goals, right? If I want to be in Toronto, I'm not going to get cash flow.
It's very
if I
hard.
want to be in the core GTA, depending on the type of home that I have, I'm not going to get a crazy appreciation. I'm not going to get a crazy cash flow.
Cash flow, yeah.
There are some products right now on the market, based on how they're built and how they're designed, they will give cash flow. But generally speaking, it becomes a appreciation play. Being in a great neighborhood, you're spending $1.5 million. You're hoping that down the road this becomes $2 million. You know, that's an appreciation play.
Or maybe a forced appreciation, like a renovation or something, right? That's
Exactly.
another
Or a
strategy.
forced appreciation, you got that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you're buying it lower, upgrading it, and getting it to the market value.
That's why I always tell investors is focus more on cash flow than just relying on the appreciation. Appreciation is a bonus. If it happens, it's a good thing. But if it doesn't happen, it's not gonna, affect you financially. So focus more on cash flow per door.
Exactly, and the banks are very giving. They're very giving towards that as well. When they have properties that are generating income, cash flow, it's carrying itself.
So I'll tell you one example, right? I mean, as an adjudicator, if I was to review 2 files and both of them are 4 properties, right? I would know just by looking at both the cases who's a smart investor and who's a stupid investor, right? So just by reviewing the cases, I would know this guy, he's know what he's doing, so I want to lend him more money. This guy, he don't know what he's doing. He's just buying properties. So as an adjudicator from their perspective, you have to understand that what the banks are going to look at.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to determine who is a smart investor and who is just buying properties for the sake of buying properties, right? And then eventually that person might land himself in a lot of trouble because he don't have a plan and he don't know what he's doing. That's where someone like you comes in the picture in terms of purchasing the right property. A lot of people, they want to grow their portfolio, right? 4, 5, 6, 7 properties, whatever they desire and how much they want to grow. But it's very, very important to have a right plan and then go in that direction. You mentioned Excel sheets. That's what we were discussing yesterday is Soham, he's creating an Excel sheet on a basis of how much money he and his missus are making, how much money is going towards what, and what they need to do in order to save more money.
Can I offer a solution on this for anybody that's listening and watching this? And
Yeah.
let's say, for example, you want to put your finances together. ChatGPT. Go on ChatGPT and create an Excel sheet for me for my personal finances so I can save money towards a real estate investment.
Oh, nice.
And ChatGPT will give you that Excel sheet and you download it, it'll make your life a little bit easier. So Soham, if you're creating this, you'd easily use that. And once you have that, here's what you can do further. You can actually input all your numbers manually that are on top of your head. Like for example, you can write, I make $65,000 a year. My car payment is $500 a month. My gym membership is $70 a month. My phone bill is $90 a month. My gas bill is, $400 a month. So when you put all those numbers in and tell ChatGPT, please input this in the Excel sheet and give me a range of my life expenses or day-to-day living expenses, it'll do that for you as well. That's the biggest hack. It's easy. It's free information, and it'll simplify it. So if anyone's heading like, oh, I got to sit down, I got to pump this in, that's your solution right there.
That's an amazing idea. I'm sometimes I get really surprised with what ChatGPT can do.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm sending someone an email, just rephrase, I'll just copy paste the email, and it's just gonna give me more professional way of how I should be sending that email. It just helps a lot.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
And the trick I found with AI and ChatGPT and some of these platforms, you have to give it really good instructions. If you don't give instructions, it won't know what to do. You have to be very specific with the instructions.
Yeah.
So if I was doing my business planning, because at the end of the year I do my business planning of like, what do I want for 2025, etc. And I just wrote like an income goal. And I was creating some of these business plans for other agents as well. And I said, okay, you know what? I want to make, let's say example, $10 million. And I gave it a couple of options. And I want to make $20 million. I want to make $30 million. And I just started doing all these like numbers, like hypothetical scenarios as an example. And I was doing it for an agent as well. And I was like, okay, how can this agent after expenses net $1 million a year? What does he have to do? What are the steps? How many deals does he have to do? How many leads does he have to call? And dude, I was so amazed with how it broke everything down step by step by step by step. Then when I read it, I said, okay. And then I wrote ChatGPT and I wrote, fix the part about marketing. Can you elaborate more on marketing and specific actions that someone needs to do? And I gave it, it broke it down even more.
Amazing.
And so I thought that was really cool. And that's the thing. You got a roadmap. You got a game plan in front of you. You just got to go out and do it now.
I think I'm gonna try it and
try, man. It's
see how it's gonna work. And in terms of AI, are you using anything that has artificial intelligence that's helping you and your real estate agents?
There's this really revolutionary CRM that I came across.
Nice.
And I think this CRM is next level. It's called Nova CRM. Nova CRM is artificial calling. You can press a button and it will call your leads for you.
Wow.
You have to tell it like what the main points of what you want to say. So anytime you're looking for financing leads or let's say real estate leads, it's calling the lead. And guess what? The beautiful part of it. You know when you pick up a phone and you call a lead, you have to call one by one. Let's say you have 1,000 leads. It'll call 1,000 at a time.
Oh wow. And that person, that AI almost feels like a real person.
It feels
right?
like, and you're having a conversation with this AI.
I watched a video on this.
Yeah, and then it's gonna. I'm telling you, it's gonna change the sales industry. And so it has a first mover advantage. Then it also has an AI for SMS texting. So if I want to text someone, and I want to send a message to 1,000 people, let's say I'm having an event, and I want to send this. I have to call people. I have to message them. I can prompt the AI, and I can prompt the text. And it'll create a text message for me and it'll send it out to 1,000 people in my list.
Wow.
That's the beautiful part of it. And it has an AI email marketer generator. If I tell it like I want to create an email and design this email with this information, it'll quickly make an email out for me to send out for mass emailing with designs and everything. Next level, dude.
And I think the brokerages or the real estate agents that gonna start using these services or these technologies are gonna actually benefit and gonna be ahead of the others that are not using it.
I want to add, Manpreet, when people say that, look, AI is great, it's supposed to be helpful, but that human personal touch can never be eliminated. Yes, I agree with you, but remember, you have to first understand what you're doing in the first place. If I don't know what I'm doing, how can I tell the AI what to do? So I have to have the base knowledge core skills.
Very important.
And I have to use the AI as an assistant. AI should be used as an assistant.
Yes.
And it can't close the deal for you. It can give you a knowledge or expertise and understanding, but really the difference is our own human thought. And that's what they try to do with AI, is they try to encapsulate a human thought with it. But it shouldn't be designed to replicate your thinking and my thinking. After reading all of that, we have to decide, okay, is this the right move or not the right move? Makes sense? So there's also a disclaimer as well in ChatGPT and a couple of other AIs. Information may not be entirely accurate that we present to you. And it has a full disclaimer at the bottom. So anyhow, I think the most important thing is that you have to be a trusted advisor. So if all the AI is doing the work, like designing, sales calls, etc., what do we need humans for?
Exactly.
So we need humans for is to make sure that you can guide the functions and you can make the final executive decision. But you have to lead somebody there in the first place. For example, even if I give you data, here you go, here are the numbers. Okay, Ron, what do I do with these numbers? Well, Manpreet, here's what the numbers are telling us. And based on this, the numbers are telling us that the charts are going to go this way, and this is how it's going to impact your investment, and this is how where housing I see is going to be in the next 5 to 10 years, based on my experience of being in this industry for the last 12, etc., etc. So you have to make sense of the data. You need someone to make sense of the data, and you need someone to explain it really, really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the way about it. But this business is good, industry is good. Meeting great individuals like yourself is fantastic. And anytime you meet an investor, you meet somebody, don't think about what they can do for you. Think about what you can do for them. That's the first thing I look at. How can I be resourceful to somebody versus, see, there's two kinds of people in this world. There's these kind of people, and there's these kind of people. You want to be this kind of, you want to pour into other people's plate, not like gimme, gimme, gimme. So a lot of us have that gimme, gimme mentality. What are you going to do for me? What are you going to do for me? I'm more of a, here's what I can do for you.
Amazing. Yeah, give value first, 100%.
And value is what? Value is a solution.
Yeah.
And a solution is, here's where we can help.
And people appreciate it.
Pardon?
People appreciate it.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you a question off camera, but I'm going to ask you on camera.
Cool.
What is your feedback for me as a host and for our setup? Because you already have your own podcast.
I think you've done a great job. I really like the setting. I really love the setup. I would say this is a much better setup than I had.
And you can be as honest as possible.
No, you're horrible, Manpreet. This is the worst. I don't know. I'd never ever call me to your show. No, you did a great job, dude. I think you're fantastic. You're a really great listener, and you're a good guy. You're a solid dude.
Thanks,
and I love the setup, and your team is fantastic, and your office is very nice. I love the windows and everything. It's really nice. Cool.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time and this conversation. I enjoyed it a lot.
Likewise, man. Thank you. Thank you guys for listening.